My name's Keith Rucker. So, thought we'd start another safe episode here and give you a little update and on what's going on with this. So, I got a call from the guy at the safe company the other day, and he told me that unfortunately he's not going to have a dial for this. So we're going to have to make one. So I don't think it's going to be a huge problem. Time will tell, but I did want to kind of bring you guys in here and let you kind of take a look at the door. This hasn't been on a video yet. So first thing you might or might not be able to see in the video, I don't know, but there's just all kinds of marks in here where someone just beat it with a hammer. This brass piece here, which was the original dial, it's been just hammered on, beat on. The front of the door is not in terrible shape. There's a little bit of a pitting in here where it looks like the front had maybe started rusting a little bit in places, and somebody painted it, just went over it, but not a very good paint job. If you look real closely, and you're probably not going to be able to see it in the video, but you can actually see up underneath the paint where the pinstriping was on here. I can even see the remains of the decal that they just painted right over that was right here, which I'm hoping to be able to reproduce those decals. So anyway, I did kind of just want to let you take a look at this, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to take this lock out and see what all is going to be involved. So the guy at the safe company, he did give me this piece. This is the back plate that goes behind this. So this will go over here and it kind of fits on the bottom. I don't know if this is the right one for this. I don't think this is the right one for this safe. I'm not even sure if it's going to fit. He mainly gave this to me as an example so I can see what it looks like. And this one here has been kind of beat up too, but I'll probably end up making a new back piece that will go over this. There's a little raised piece down here, and that will screw into the actual safe here. There's a couple of holes, and in fact you can even see where there were some screw holes in here originally where that was screwed on there. And then the dial, this part of course just has a mark on it that you line your numbers up, but the dial itself was actually built into this handle. And if you look around this bottom, it's not real obvious probably from where you're sitting, but where I'm sitting you can see that it's just busted off. And that was where the dial was. So we're going to have to remake this whole piece right here. And that was originally brass. It was probably nickel plated. I'm not sure. I might have to take a look at that, but you can tell it's brass right here. So anyway, let's get in here and see if we can get this lock mechanism out. The guy at the safe company did kind of talk me through what all's involved in taking this apart. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and try to take it out. Alright, I've got the door kind of propped up here so I can kind of work on both sides. We did check this out, or he did at the safe company, and the lock itself, everything is working. Everything is, looks like it's fine, so everything should be fine there as far as getting the combination set back up later. Probably just need to, we have this out, of course that part goes in and out. So what happens is there's actually 4 tumblers in here, and as you turn the knob on the one side, of course normally this door is setting up and gravity is going to pull this down, so you kind of come through here and you get on the first number and it catches, and I'm not doing this exactly right here, but basically you just line up all 4 of the tumblers until all the notches line up, and when they do, this little piece here goes in there, and when you turn this, it pulls the door open. So anyway, we got some work to do to it, but nothing too terribly difficult. So what he said to do was go ahead and take these screws out and take all these tumblers off, and eventually we'll get it down where that whole little brass piece will come out. So we're going to start working on that, but before I do, I'm going to stop the camera here and I'm going to get some good pictures of this just for my own records, so when I start putting this back together, hopefully I'll have some references to go off. One thing that I'll note here too is this number 23 that's written inside the door. I've been on the internet doing a little bit of research on these, and I've seen some pictures of some other ones that have a number up here, and at least on a couple of places I've seen where people have speculated that this was the year of manufacture. So this would have been made in 1923, assuming that that is the year. I don't know that for a fact. It could be like the number, if they do a batch of these, this may have been number 23 in the batch, but the 1923 date would make sense for this safe based on when my grandfather would have been using it, and when he likely would have purchased it, kind of in the growth of his little store that he had. So that is likely. So if anybody out there knows a little bit more about these Victor safes and want to comment on that, I'd be interested to hear. But for now, anyway, I think I'm going to go with the hypothesis that that's the date of manufacture, 1923. So anyway, we're going to start taking this lock apart. So there's a couple of little brass screws here on the top. This has been apart. It's not very tight. Okay, so that's just a little cover piece that goes on there. There's a washer. I say a washer. Okay, that actually fits into one of the pins on here. So you see all these holes around here. That fits into one of the pins. Let me zoom in on this lock and see if we can get a little better picture. Alright, so the little cover comes off the top, and then this little lock ring or whatever it is, I'm not sure, that comes off. Okay, so it looks like there's a slot in here that has a little key in it. So I'm going to take a little punch here and carefully tap that. And that's not doing anything. So that didn't work. Trying not to be too rough with this. I'm going to do some more research on this before I try to take it apart any further. Alright guys, we're back onto the Victor safe here tonight. Yesterday I kind of ran into a roadblock. I can tell what's going on with this lock is this outer cog here is kind of keyed in place. There's a piece of metal that is pressed down inside of a slot. It looks like it was cut with a hacksaw maybe across through here, and then there's this little key that goes in there, and that's what lets this turn. And what I've got to do is I've got to get this little key out, and when I do, all these little cogs should come out. So I wasn't really quite sure about how to go about getting that out. I had an idea of how to do it, but I just decided before I got into this too deep, I would run by and talk to the guys at the safe company that's been helping with this, which is, by the way, Tri-State Lock and Safe in Tifton, Georgia. Those guys up there have worked on a lot of these kinds of safes over the years, and anyway, I took some pictures of it, stopped in up there this morning and talked to them, and pretty much told me what I was going to try to do, which is just basically get in there and take a punch or a chisel or something, and you're just going to have to bang on it until it comes out. So, and I think what I'm going to do too is put a little bit of heat on it. Not a lot. I don't want to get it too hot in there, but maybe that'll help it come out as well. But anyway, kind of give you an update on that. And just a couple other things. While I was at Tri-State, I had taken these little locks here up there. These go into the inner door and another little door inside the safe, and I didn't have keys for them. And I took them up there, and he basically took these locks apart and hand cut some keys to fit these two locks here. So now I have the keys that go in there to fit these locks, which is very exciting. Wasn't a big deal for him to do that. He just charged me, it was $10 a key, which I thought was very reasonable, and saved me a bunch of trouble having to figure out how to do something I don't know how to do. And also, just another little side note, when I was shooting video last night, I talked about this 23 up here on the door, and I had seen some references on all these Victor safes. When you take this, there's a metal cover that actually covers this up, and when you take that off, every one I've ever seen has a number in there, and there has been a lot of speculation that's the year of manufacture. Well, I was actually looking on the internet last night, and I saw a safe that had number 75 on it, and when I saw that, I said, that ruins that hypothesis, because Victor Safe and Lock Company that made this safe, they actually went in business, I don't remember the exact year, but it was the early 1880s, and basically I think they sold the company in the 30s, and then I think they continued making safes under that name up to the 1950s. So the point being, the number 75 that I saw in there was never a year 75 that this company was in business, either 1875 or 1975. 1875 predates them, 1975 was after they went out of business. So anyway, I don't think that's the year like I originally thought. So, and just one other point, I've had a lot of comments on my previous videos working on this about this material in here, about it probably containing asbestos, and I've commented this on my other videos, and you're probably right. I don't know that for a fact, but I think it's a safe assumption. I think it's an assumption I want to make anyway, just from a safety standpoint. And just like I did on the bottom, I clear coated this whole thing really good and heavy with some shellac. And what that does is it kind of seals off any loose fibers, any asbestos fibers that may be on there, and hopefully that will prevent that from becoming airborne, which is when asbestos is dangerous. If it's tied up in something, I mean, the danger is getting into your lungs and breathing it. So hopefully that'll seal it off, and hopefully we won't have to be in here too much, and we can cover all that back up, and it'll be completely safe. But I did coat this with a clear coat just to be on the safe side. So I've got a little propane torch, and we're just going to heat this up a little bit. I'm not trying to get it super hot. I'm just trying to make the metal expand and contract a little bit, and hopefully that will help loosen that up to get that key out. So very often when you have something stuck like this, heat can be your friend, but don't overdo the heat, and I can't emphasize that enough. We're not trying to melt anything. We're not trying to get anything red hot. We're just trying to heat it up enough to make that metal swell up a little bit, contract a little bit, and that action of doing that very often will help break something loose. So I'm going to try to wear some gloves if I can. Well, I don't know that I can work with these gloves, so I'm just going to have to be careful. So I'm going to come back in here now. I almost need something to hold that thing down. It looks like it lifted up just a little bit there. They said at the safe company that if I can get something up underneath it and pry up on it, it will probably come out. But the key is going to be getting something up underneath it good enough to be able to get it to start up. I need another set of hands. Alright guys, we're up to about plan C or D now on this. I took you guys off camera and got in here and messed around with this thing, tried several things, just trying to get something to work, and I'm not having any luck budging this little key in there. And you know, it doesn't look like it, but I'm wondering if it may not be silver soldered in. I really don't want to heat it up that hot to try to get it out. It doesn't look like it is, but it's not coming out. So I've decided that we're just going to cut it out. So I've got a little Dremel tool here with a cut off disc, and we're going to try to come in here and just carefully cut that slot out. Now if I mess up the inner piece here, that's part of the new knob that I'll be making, but I do want to try to preserve this outside brass piece here, because that's what I'm going to be reusing, and this looks like a steel pin that's in there, so it's anyway, but we're going to come in here and see if we have any luck with this. Alright, I felt this little piece here come flying out. That's the bottom of that pin. It's completely out of the slot now. Look at there. So that piece there screws in, and that key was locking it in place. I've still got just a little bit of, it's not wanting to thread up, so I'm going to get in there and try to enlarge that out just a little bit more inside that steel. See if that'll come out. Alright, so here it comes. Got to go the other way with it. Alright, so I'm going to number these discs so I can know which way they go out, and we'll call number 1 on the inside. I'm going to put my number facing to the outside, so we'll call that number 4. So let's see, can I get, I may be able to just pull the knob all the way out now, and that may just, we just may leave those in there. We may not even take those out. There we go. All right, so interesting. I'm going to have to examine this and figure out, because this looks like steel here. This part up here is brass. And my biggest thing is I got to figure out how to make a new one, but we'll see if we can get that apart and go from there. Let me get you in a little bit closer on the camera so you can see that apart. All right, so there's the knob, and if you look right here, this little flange around here, this is all busted off, and this is where the dial actually came up around, and they actually knocked the dial off. So the part that I'm going to have to make will be this ring here that has the dial, and then this pin will press through there, it looks like. I'm assuming that's all brass. I'll have to clean it up and see. It looks like there may actually be more than two parts there even. That looks like a line, and there it looks like it's two different parts. So again, I'm betting that when I press this out, that then I'll be able to pull the whole thing out. So I'm going to probably take this back to the museum where I got my press and press the knob out and see if I can save this stem here and reuse that. If not, that's a fairly easy piece to make. But anyway, we've got the lockout, so success there. Alright, so just a little quick update. I did take that over there to the wire wheel and Scotch-Brite pad and just kind of polished it up. Got all the old paint off of it. And I noticed there was a pin right here that was holding this in. So I knocked that pin out, and I've already taken it out now, but you can see that that just screws up in there, and then that's pinned through there to hold that in place. So this little piece here comes out, and you know, we've got this piece of brass here now, missing the dial. So my next challenge is I need to get some good pictures and some measurements from a dial off of a Victor safe. And one of my viewers on my channel who's been watching this has a safe similar to this, and is supposed to be getting me some pictures, and hopefully I can get some measurements or whatever from him. And you know, this is going to be a little project to basically turn one of these dials on the metal lathe. I'm going to have to come up with I don't know how big the dial is. It's probably about the same diameter as those handles there, just from looking at the pictures from what I remember. So that's about 3 inches in diameter, which makes sense. And you know, this is the little ring that the guy at the safe company, that's 3 inches on the inside of that. So again, that makes sense. So you know, I'm gonna have to find me a piece of brass about that size to turn this out of, or possibly make a pattern and cast one of these out of brass, so I won't have to lose quite as much material, and turn it out of the casting. So anyway, I got to figure out which way I'm going to go. Probably just buy a piece of brass and turn it. I think I can do that probably quicker and easier than having to cast it. But we'll see. We'll see. I have to think about that. This pin through here is steel. You know, I'm probably not even going to worry about pressing that one out. You know, I'll just keep this as a souvenir, I guess, of what they had done to the safe. It does have a number on the front. It's hard to read because some ding-dong, probably one of my relatives, hit it with a hammer. But 170259, that's probably the serial number for the safe. So yeah, I don't know if the date is hidden in that serial number. I'll have to, again, if anybody knows anything about serial numbers on these Victor safes, let me know. All right.